Baby, don't turn out the light. I wanna see you look at me. Whisper only truth tonight, not just promises and empty fantasies. I don't need a bed of roses, 'cause roses will wither away. All I really need is honesty from someone with a strong heart, a gentle hand who take me as I am. Baby, I need for you to know just exactly how I feel. Fiery passions come and go. I trade a million pretty words for one touch that is real. I don't need a bed of roses, 'cause roses will wither away. All I really need is honesty from someone with a strong heart, a gentle hand who take me as I am. Oh, I don't need a bed of roses, 'cause roses will wither away. All I really need is honesty from someone with a strong heart, a gentle hand who'll take me as I am. Oh yeah, from someone with a strong heart, a gentle hand who'll take me as I am.
The music is magic. Magic 92.5 WGHQ.
This is our forking road, love's last episode. There's nowhere to go. Oh no, you made your choice. Now it's up to me to bow out gracefully. Though you hold the key, but baby, whenever you call me, I'll be there. Whenever you want me, I'll be there. Whenever you need me, I'll be there. I'll be around. I knew just what to say. Now I found out today that all the words had slipped away. But I know there's always a chance, a tiny spark will remain, yeah. And sparks turn into flames, and love
Hi, Nina.
can burn once again. But I know you know, whenever you call me, I'll be there. Whenever you want me, I'll be there. Whenever you need me, I'll be there. I'll be around.
is the Hudson Valley station for great songs and magic memories. 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. We're streaming through our website, WGHQ.FM, and you can listen on your smart speaker when you say play WGHQ. This is Magic 92.5 WGHQ.
Good morning. You're now listening to Kingston Community Radio, airing on FM 92.5 and AM 920 WGHQ, Kingston, New York. This programming is brought to you by our listeners and corporate underwriters who are interested in presenting local community radio. The opinions expressed on this program do not represent those of Pamel Broadcasting or Kingston Community Radio. Listeners are encouraged to send in $10 per month to help bring this program to you. Mail your contributions to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. For more information or to donate online, visit our website at mykcr.org. And good morning. This is Dan Gatis, and thank you for sharing the morning with us. A terrific Tuesday morning, April 6th, and 39 degrees we start out with. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Hi, my name is George Post from Ulster Park, New York, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you. Where else can you speak to your local representatives on the air and have your questions answered? So thank you, and support KCR.
And thank you for supporting KCR. Thank you for listening to KCR today, this morning, and Kingston Community Radio on 920 AM, 92.5 FM, or streaming online at mykcr.org. KCR is talk radio and a call-in show, so you may call in. 331-9255 is your number. And it is a terrific Tuesday, and we've got Cameron Rylance and Nina Poshapak in the on-air studio, and good morning.
Good morning. It is
morning.
a good morning.
It is, Cameron. It's beautiful out there.
Good mood. And
Yes.
You're in
Yeah.
a good mood. You look very springy. I like that color. It's
Thank
very
you.
pretty magenta.
Yeah. I thought,
It's out there.
it's supposed to be warm out today. The sun is shining.
Yeah.
It's Easter.
The red and the
It's
blue
Easter.
on the cameras is just very springy.
Yeah, well, I got nice
Yeah.
vivid color on, too.
Yeah.
so
Yes. The royal blue. I love royal
my
blue.
stripes. I like the stripes on the arms.
And New York Giants.
That's right. Oh, that
New York
camera.
Giants.
I just noticed we're inverted, sort of.
Yes, we are.
The
It's
camera's
by the
that.
camera?
It's this camera right here.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, it's
that
that
one.
camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because you're both
Okay.
facing it, so I
there you
put.
go.
And when a guest comes in, I'll throw it to 3.
Oh, you
Yeah.
moved it.
Ah.
Oh, that's cool.
We learned something new today.
So Easter, how was your Easter?
My Easter was wonderful. First time my whole family, my brothers, my sister, my mom, we've been together in a year. First time.
Wow.
And all of us
That's
at
big.
least
for
were.
you guys,
yeah.
big Italian family, that's
Yeah.
important. And Easter, too, especially.
So everybody was either had all their shots or one shot. Some got the Johnson & Johnson, so they only needed one
Oh,
shot.
that's cool.
Yeah, so it worked out really well. And it was a beautiful day, so we're outside on the deck,
Yep.
which was
exactly.
even better.
We were on my back porch, it
Yep.
was in the sun, it was nice.
Yeah,
I
how
had
about
it at
you?
my house, yeah.
Yeah.
My parents. There's only 7 or 8 of us.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My I guess she might be listening. I guess I got to say my girlfriend Amanda came over. My parents, my sister.
Oh, see,
and
now
3
that's
kids.
news to me.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Cameron.
It's news to everybody.
Uh-oh.
News to everybody.
You know, that's a big move when you say those words, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's a big thing.
So that was nice. So she came over.
Yep, and so there's only 8 of us. So that's the whole local family. So
Yeah, but that's great. That's nice.
yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, good.
Which segues nicely into my next little story.
Oh, all right.
Speaking of Easter, it'll tie in a moment. We had a very successful
meatloaf
dinner yesterday. I think it was really good. I only got like a little scrap of a scraping a pan, but somehow there's a slight mix-up.
That's not right. That the cook doesn't even get a taste.
I was shooting for like mid-60s. Like, in the morning our head count was 59, and I know there's usually about 10.
Right. So yeah.
And walk
Okay.
up. So high 60s, low 70s. I shot for. So we were in 72. We had 6 5-pound meatloaves, 12 slices each. 73 people ended up trying to come in. We usually had to turn a couple people away. So we had a slight mix-up, but
so do you
saved the day to a degree. I did.
Do your reservations go first? I mean, you always
some-
make sure the people that have reservations get food.
Correct.
Okay.
Unfortunately, some people made reservations and it wasn't acknowledged. I don't know. Somebody got kicked out of the loop. The verification loop, and we missed a few people, and it worked out. It was great, but it was we got several comments back. Oh, the meatloaf was so good. People called back and texted, and even my nephew called me Chef Cam Ramsey.
Chef Cam Ramsey, I like that. So can you tell us your secret ingredients in your meatloaf?
They didn't have any ground pork. A restaurant depot was frozen. I went down Monday morning. I was like, I'm not. You gotta soak it.
Yeah.
It's all beef, eggs, breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of milk. Did I say breadcrumbs?
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 ingredients.
Oh wow.
Oh, and ketchup on the top.
Okay.
I did slather them in ketchup because some people do.
So you must just use the
me personally, I would put onions or shredded carrots or something.
Yep, the crunchy.
You kind of get rid of the less meat, more other food, whatever, vegetables. But it was delicious. It was really good. Just I hit the right combo.
And that's hard when you're making
2
that kind of
tablespoons
volume.
Salt, third of a cup of Worcestershire, 4 cups of breadcrumbs, an egg a pound. So.
Oh, okay.
10 eggs per 10-pound batch. That's
Yeah.
at least the rules I might go by. Yeah, and that was it. It just came out.
Bacon?
Just a good combo. And corn and mashed potatoes, but it was delicious.
Oh, corn and mashed potatoes with it, perfect. Did you have a little gravy? Or
Yep,
no?
and gravy, yep.
Yeah, okay.
The next one is for Cinco de Mayo, May. So
What are you doing?
Tacos and rice and beans. Not rice and beans, but rice and beans.
Yeah.
And, probably soft tacos because,
The hard ones are tough.
we don't make them. We'll put everything in the tray and just fold up some soft tacos and close it. So you get home and you make your own.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, the bottom will drop out.
And those hard ones can crack.
Hard ones that break,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Hard ones are supposed to break on the first bite, so everything's in your hand, so you can't stop eating.
Yeah, you're right. You have to go right through with it.
Well, Taco Tuesday. Now I know it's for dinner tonight.
There you go.
Tacos.
And I saw on Kingston Happenings that you guys are listed.
Yeah, we just
which is
figured that
great.
Out. Yeah, and that was actually one gentleman who's brand new to the Elks dinners called and got a thing, and then he was one of the guys that emailed back. Dina Gage said, "Oh, it was delicious."
Really good.
I found out about this. Sign me up for May. So.
Oh, good.
But for $10, you cannot.
No, you cannot
beat it.
No.
And
Plus, you're supporting the Elks.
Yeah, and
on top of it.
You go to a deli. I mean, granted, we have an unfair advantage because we have volunteer labor.
Right.
But, you go to a deli, a ham sandwich is $7.50.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Full on. Oh, and Rice Krispie treats.
Oh, and you even get a dessert.
Yeah, it was the dessert last night. All American meatloaf and Rice Krispie treats.
Do you have a dessert crew that does just desserts every month?
God bless their soul. Dina Gage and Leslie Lansing and Melissa Winfield have been bouncing back and forth and alternating.
I don't know how Melissa does it. I mean, because Melissa is,
Yeah.
I had to give a shout out to Melissa Winfield. She runs the whole volunteer program down, was at the K. Wallen Fieldhouse and now at Best Buy for the vaccinations. And she does a phenomenal job. And she works 24/7. I don't know
I
where
haven't
she.
seen her in a month.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I'd see her at a happy hour or something like that occasionally. Or
Yeah, I think
haven't
she's
seen her in a
working
month.
nonstop.
bless her.
So it's people like her that allow people like us to get our vaccines and, to make this community safe. So a thank you to Melissa for and many other volunteers too. But I just know Melissa and see all that she's done. But to all the volunteers,
And I saw a big headline in Freeman today. Well, everywhere. 16, yeah. That's good.
yeah,
I'm
which is great.
sure my son's mother's going to be on his back to get a vaccine.
Vaccine, yeah.
And if you're listening, which he's not, he should be on his way to school, actually, getting ready for school.
You better not be listening, right?
Better not be listening. Well, he can be, but he better be in the shower. His mother is works at Emergency One, and she's sick.
She's always
people.
worried, yeah.
She's a huge vaccine advocate. So
I was going to say something about that. 16 and 17-year-olds have to get. I saw that the Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, really?
They can't get the Moderna or the Pfizer. They
why they weren't tested?
They only find that the Johnson & Johnson is safe on the 16 and 17-year-olds. 18 and above,
bet
you could
you-
do Moderna and Pfizer.
I bet because Johnson & Johnson is the only quote unquote traditional vaccine.
Okay.
The other one's using that recombinant DNA technology or whatever
Okay.
it is, some other new
Technology.
antiviral technology for the vaccines. But the J&J is like the old polio or measles vaccine. It's uses the dead virus or whatever.
Okay, so that's
So
probably why.
it's probably considered more traditionally safer, I guess.
Proven.
Yes. More like the old school stuff rather than this new high tech stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Your
my
theory.
theory behind it. But either way,
Yeah, I thought that was
good.
an interesting fact. I
Better
read
than
that.
nothing. Because there
Yeah,
have been sadly a lot of stories about kids, healthy teenagers getting sick and on respirators and stuff. So
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
get
so
it. Everybody get it. So
everyone
you can
get
go
it.
back to
We can all be
Giants
safe.
games and
Yes.
Yankee Stadium. Citi
speaking
Field.
of games, did you see? I went to sleep. I didn't even see it start.
A
But
couple great games this
yeah.
week.
So last night, right, Baylor and
up too late.
Gonzaga, and Gonzaga undefeated, right?
Yeah.
And so we have which I've talked about before in there, our family bracket for March Madness. So Dwayne has led the bracket. There's 7 of us that do the bracket, and Dwayne's led the bracket the whole time. And he had Gonzaga to win, and Drew, my son Drew, had Baylor to win.
Really? Wow.
And so Dwayne went down to 3rd place, Drew won, and my nephew Anthony came in 2nd. So I heard, though, that I didn't watch the game, that Gonzaga did not play well. They played well.
I guess,
Baylor,
but
they said, was
Baylor
just
was-
amazing.
Some of those guys on Baylor, they got to check their age.
Really?
These guys look like they're
22, 23.
26-year-old
Oh, really?
NBA player, bigger. Just like they didn't look. I don't know, man. They were like Danny Almonte or whatever that
Yeah, right.
football kid was.
Yeah.
She was in Little League or whatever.
And how about that shot at the buzz?
Yeah,
oh,
that
my
was that Suggs
gosh.
kid.
Yeah.
And then it was disappointing to see Connecticut lose.
Yeah, that
I
was.
mean, I couldn't care less, but
But yeah,
they're local. They're right down the road, Connecticut. Gino Auriemma and
Yep.
that freshman.
that freshman
that
girl
would've
is a
been-
phenomenal.
Well, you know what? Probably
player.
better for her because now she's gonna want it even more.
Yeah, good point.
You know,
Yeah,
you
you're gonna be
AP
hungry for it.
Player of the Year as a freshman, and your team wins the championship. What?
Yeah, what do you strive for after
Kick
that?
back and relax for the next 3 years until the WNBA draft or whatever.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna go high.
Yeah,
If that's what she wants to do, but
yeah.
those
So it was a busy weekend in sports. Yeah, and the weather was beautiful, so that was nice. And we have a full show today, right, Cameron? We have Heidi
Yep,
Kirshner
should
from
be.
the Y at 7:30.
and Bill Merchant should. I assume everyone's coming
At 8, and then
the weather isn't a reason not to come in.
and Peter Roberts is going to do a really interesting show on Greenfield Park.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that. Yeah. He sent us some information on it.
I've heard of it in the past, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, so he's going to really enlighten us at 8:30. Nancy Shando is usually here from Friends of Historic Kingston, but we have Peter Roberts this month, so which is nice, which is great.
Yeah, they tagged you. I don't know if hopefully she's on vacation somewhere.
Yeah, that would be nice. A lot of people, I think, are starting to travel a little bit.
Yeah, Pete hasn't been in here in a while.
No, he hasn't. Yeah.
Last time he came, he had had a book, as I recall. We were looking at pictures from a book.
He did.
I don't remember what it was about.
I don't either.
Normally we talk about all sorts of different things.
Yes.
You start on one topic and you end up on something.
You do. You do. So, and don't forget, it's a call-in show, 331-9255. So please call in, and please call in when our guests are on. They love to have your questions, or hear your comments. So 331-9255.
Was that before we were on air talking about my shot on Sunday?
Yes, that was before we were on
So
air.
we're on air. So County Fairgrounds, the inoculation center down there. Holy cow! What a well-oiled machine that is. My appointment was for 8:30 Sunday morning, Easter Sunday. Which I was surprised at. I double, triple. Like the night before, I was like, did I get the day? Let me just make sure it's Easter. So so whatever. 8:30. So I got there like quarter. I've never been late for anything ever. So I was there.
Oh, really?
Quarter after. So I sat there, did my crossword puzzle a little bit. Stuck in my pocket. You park here by the pool, I guess.
Yes.
Sort of by the pool. But you had to walk. I don't want to say far, but
no, that's a
you
walk.
had to walk around like this, circle into the back. You passed the sheep and goat barn.
Yes.
Into this big steel building where they had, and then you because there's people walking from different areas. People parked here, parked there. So sort of shuffled into a line on the walk.
Sure.
And by the time you get to the building, you're in a little bit of a festoon, a queue under the pavilion.
Okay.
And there was National Guard guys there. Come this way, folks. Stay on the side. The shuttle bus is coming through. Very polite and helpful. And then you're under there. There's a talk. Just want to make sure no one here has been in contact with anyone in COVID. And the 5 questions they ask you: have you traveled, COVID state, or whatever. So by the time you get up to the door, the guy, the gatekeeper had a thermometer in his hand, and he's like, "Have you heard and understood all the questions you've been asked?" And yep, do any apply to you? Nope. Beep. Scan you. I know what happened. They said no.
Right. You're out.
Everybody, boop. Go in. He's like, go to station number 8. You walk up and on the wall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, station 8. Walked over to 8. Another National Guard guy there. Let me see your paperwork and this. Hey, buddy, how are you? Can I see your license? Super polite. He's like, okay, hang on a moment. He's like, here's your thing. Here's your next appointment. The woman in the green sweater will tell you where to go. I looked up. The woman in the green sweater going, come on, buddy. So walked over. She was walking down the aisle, and there was like at least 10 booths. And in each booth, they were sitting back to back. 2 people on computers, on desks, and there's a woman sitting in the middle, like a little cabinet next to her. Oh, well, that's cool. She's monitoring, being a Boy Scout leader, no improper contact or anything like that. It was just a monitor, whatever. So they say, oh, see here. So I sit down, show me paperwork, log me on, did all the time. It's 8:35. You're getting the Pfizer shot, you have to come back in 3 weeks, you understand all this? And I was like, yep. So I think I had to sign something electronically, and she's like, leaned over her shoulder, was like, okay, he's ready. The woman sitting in the middle stood up, boop, jabbed me, and she's like, okay, you feel okay? I'm like, yeah, great. She's like, okay, please go over there, see that gentleman there, and there's a guy standing there going like this. You got to wait 15 minutes, you'll be done at 8:50, you got to go, and so... Yeah. It was like being in timeout. They had a chair,
right. They had you all, and they were socially distanced. The wall.
If it was a regular clock, I'm sure you heard it go click, 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 click. But it was digital. So I sat down, whipped out my puzzle, started doing my puzzle, and I looked up. It was 8:55. I was like, oh shoot! I sat here for 20 minutes.
Oh, you stayed extra.
I stood up. I was like, I felt like I was escaping or something. And I was like, I guess I can just leave. There's no checkout. And I look up, and some guy was like, the door exit's over there. Because I guess I'm not the first guy to stand up.
Not to know which way to go.
Exit's over there. I was like, okay, thanks. I walked out, and all of a sudden I was back out in the street, I was like, oh, I guess I'm done.
I'm good.
Walked back to the car and came
That's
home
great.
and cleaned my house and cooked Easter dinner.
Yeah, it's quite an operation. Yeah, even up
I was
at Best
impressed.
Buy.
But,
Yeah,
I mean, there
they
was
really.
all the check-in booths. I don't know what time it started. I
Yeah,
thought
right, you got there at
8:30 would've been an
8:30,
early
yeah.
appointment, but it was
good
up
question.
and running full. The parking lot already had 50 cars in it.
Right. Yeah.
It was- wow.
Yeah, no.
All sorts
really.
of different people too, young, old. I mean, not 16, but but 50 and whatever. There's a couple like younger people had elderly parents with them. There was a older looking Spanish couple. Guy had this cool cowboy hat on. Speaking of cowboy boots, cool cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't realize. Like South America has like more cowboys and cattle culture than like America does. I mean, they are super Central and South America.
You don't think
Brazil,
of
Argentina,
cowboys.
yeah,
Uruguay, Argentina. yeah.
Uruguay, and they are huge beef cattle, and they are full-on ranchers.
Oh wow, yeah, you don't think of that in
No,
South
but,
America. That's very true.
It's an American thing. Well,
Yeah.
our version is it's been transplanted over the world, whatever. But they're way into it. But anyhow, total mix of people, and
Yeah.
Which was good to see. I'm saying that
Absolutely, yeah. Yes.
pleased with the progress. So.
Absolutely. It's funny because when I walked into Best Buy, of course now the vaccination center, and I saw all there had to be, I don't know, 300-400 people, all, like you said, very efficiently moving forward, blah, blah, blah. And for 1 second, Cameron, it just hit me like, who would have thought like a year and a half ago that we would be in a mass vaccination center, all of us here in the United States having to get vaccinated. It's just like the reality of the situation just hit me for a second.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
yeah, it really was. It was like, here we are in 2021 doing mass vaccinations against the pandemic, and who would have ever thought? It really it hit me in a funny way, and it also went to show what you spoke about, the fact that how orderly it was and efficient, and how we really have moved forward in 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year ago,
Well,
you would have thought,
it's
would they have developed a vaccine? Would we be all getting inoculated now? I don't know. I didn't really think so.
Well, they've.
So,
I hope people have recorded, writing down the playbook. So
yeah, right.
sadly, it's probably going to happen again in our life because of the way global travel is and all that.
And some of the European countries are still struggling. I mean,
It's just in
yeah.
Poland, I guess, is getting crushed right now. It's a little thing in the Freeman today.
Yeah. And France, too. I know the UK is starting to open up a little bit, but, yeah, we're not, we're not over.
Texas, no one wanted to wear masks and shut things down.
Did you see the baseball game? The Texas Rangers baseball game at the stadium? Oh, my God. No one had masks on. It was like
And it was
40,000
full.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
I was like,
is
oh, my
that
God.
why Europe?
I shouldn't say no one. I shouldn't say no one. But, yeah, few did. It was
Very
on the
few. No, I did
news.
not see that.
I was watching the 6 o'clock news last night, and I was like, oh, my gosh. That's amazing.
Well,
But we still have our masks.
Go
We're still
Texas.
doing what's right.
Seal the border.
As Heidi says when she comes in, Texas is its own country.
Texas
Yeah,
is Texas,
Texas
yeah.
is Texas.
Which is true.
Yes. What were we talking about? Texas has their own electric grid, and I never realized that.
Yeah, me neither.
Right?
I thought the whole country was. I thought it was a federal thing. No,
Right. Me
but
too.
Apparently
Me too.
not.
No, not
here
with
in
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. So, so I'm glad you had a good holiday. Your family had a nice holiday, and and we're into spring now. This whole week, spring weather.
Yeah, great weather.
Right. Yeah, which is really nice. And pretty soon you'll be getting the barbecue out.
Yeah, well, I kind of never stopped.
Oh, yeah, we don't either.
Well, I did. Actually, it's funny. I went to barbecue the other day, and I started walking on my back porch. I was like, shoot. I had borrowed my propane tank and a scramble to get to work for a heater, to fire a heater at work.
So you didn't have your
I was
tank.
like, oh, dang it. It's at work. It's empty now.
Well, you had to do the poster pack way of doing it because for too many years we would go outside to barbecue and we would be out of gas, right? So I said, Dwayne, this is it. We need 2 tanks. So when one runs out, you go into the shed, you get the other one, and then you can fill the first one. So we now have 2 tanks because I don't know how many times that's happened to us. So frustrating.
Well, I didn't even have a tank.
Yeah, right. You didn't even have one.
I got literally on my back porch, looked at the grill, I was like, dang it. It's at work.
No barbecuing.
Yeah, all right, I got to bring it home today. No excuse.
Yeah. You have to remember. Yeah. So your maple syrup's all done. We
Yes,
had
thank
some
you.
on our
Did you
pan.
try it?
Oh, it was delicious.
Good. I'm glad you
Absolutely
enjoyed it.
delicious. Something about like I don't know, homemade, I don't know what you would call it, fresh maple syrup that you tapped on your own tree.
Fresh pancakes.
Yes. Oh, delicious. Absolutely delicious. So, yeah. So maple syrup season's over.
Yep, thank goodness.
Yep. Yeah.
A lot of work.
It is a
I
lot
mean,
of work.
I'm not selling it. If it was in business, if I was making money doing it, I'd still be cooking if it's possible. Well, it's done now.
Is it done? Yeah.
I'd still be cooking, but it's in addition to my normal workload at work, and I'm not profiting. Well,
You're
yes,
doing it
I'm getting paid, but
No, but yeah, but
the
you're
whole
doing more
the whole
for-
time it's like what am I not doing that I should be doing instead of sitting here throwing wood on a fire? Boiling sap. So
Right.
that's my own inner angst.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
I get it.
It works
I get
out.
it.
I like it. I mean, I get a case, get syrup to give to friends and family. So
Right.
it's a good thing.
So, Cameron, I want to say thank you. I'm sure you do too, to everyone that donated last week to the telethon.
the
Thank you.
radiothon, yes.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was despite some not being on our normal AM signal, so we probably lost a fair share of
Yeah, we did.
listeners, and it being the first one, and the new radio format. It's been deemed a success, and I absolutely have to agree. So.
Yeah, so thank you to all our listeners that donated. Thank you for keeping us on the air. Cameron and I wouldn't know what to do. Would you, Dan, if we didn't have our Tuesday morning? Well, you have it every day. We have our Tuesday morning.
Tuesday
Terrific
morning. No, it would. It's an entity. It's a living being. Terrific Tuesday. It needs to be.
Change the whole week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So
And
thank
yes,
you.
everybody is happy to know that AM is back on the air.
Good.
Oh,
Okay.
thank goodness. Thank
Today,
goodness.
AM and FM are both pushing well. And
So-
of course, we're always streaming.
That's right.
Luckily.
Yeah, always on YouTube.
And do we know how much we raised altogether? Do we know, Dan?
It's at least as of last Friday, we knew that it was close to. As of last Thursday, when Tony was on, it was close to $23,000.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
fantastic.
A few others were coming in as we were finishing.
Great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, they have us for another year, Cameron.
That's right. We're stuck.
They're stuck with us. That's for sure.
Now, just to put this out there, we have a radiothon coming up next spring, 2022.
Ah, there
All
we go.
right.
We will prepare,
right.
and everybody will be ready to jump on it the day of.
Yes,
when we do
absolutely,
it.
absolutely. So I was saying when we're on the air, the nice thing about the Radiothon, of course, all the people that were guest hosts or involved with the radio, the Kingston Community Radio were on. But in addition, so many community members that came and spent an hour, raised money. Shout out to all the people that worked and the volunteers to raise that money. It was really nice to see so much community involvement in the Radiothon, I thought, which was great. So you're right. Mark your calendar, spring 2022. Maybe we'll even be able to have our breakfast in the spring of 2022, right?
Yeah, right.
Right?
It's
Something,
about
yeah.
this time of year. We usually pull it off at Spring Lake. I don't think there's been any talk yet this year for it.
Yeah, but maybe next year, right?
Definitely.
Picnic,
Yes.
picnic in the fall, maybe.
It's
yeah,
always a good.
Tony Marmo always was advocate for doing a picnic.
Yeah.
He did one. One year we did do one at
That would be
Forsyth Park.
fantastic. It's just
do it
equally as fantastic. Like that 10-year Forsyth Park picnic.
Yes.
We could rent a space and
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, we did. It was fun.
Do it
Yeah, Rotary Park.
this fall, maybe.
Point.
Yeah, or Rotary Park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rotary
Forsyth,
Park's
yeah, I
beautiful
mean-
too.
I would like that better. Actually.
And Hasbrook. Haven't they fixed up Hasbrook?
Yeah, Hasbrook is nice. Hasbrook has a beautiful view.
Yeah,
right
that's
there, right?
gorgeous up there.
Yes.
There's always a breeze.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hasbrook is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's got a big, nice
Yeah.
roof
Or
there.
maybe even Saugerties, Cantine Field or something. you know?
Yeah.
I know we get a lot of listeners from Saugerties. So.
Yeah, we do. We do. We have a lot of beautiful parks
Yeah.
and recreational areas here, in our area, which is really nice. Very, very nice.
Let's talk it up. See if we can do a fall picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
People love meeting each other who are listeners.
Yeah.
They
They
do.
love
Yeah.
meeting each other, and
You hear the voice.
It's great for
Oh,
us
yeah,
to
they
see
heard
them.
that.
Yeah,
Well, that
exactly,
person.
and they love
Yeah.
meeting us because
Yeah.
they don't.
Well,
sometimes
call
see
in,
us.
listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to
Remember,
know
you call in and
what your
voice your
consensus
opinion.
is.
Because, hey, you get a free meal, so, why
Yeah,
not?
why not? It's
It's a
right.
free meal.
Right.
Never met a free meal I didn't like, so.
That's the truth. Or one that somebody else cooked.
Even
That's the
better,
other
yeah,
one.
Exactly. So we got to go to break. So
We'll have Heidi, hopefully, Kirshner.
We'll see her soon, I hope. All right, Dan.
Okay, and we are at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to Terrific Tuesday on this Tuesday, April 6th, and it's 40 degrees here in Uptown Kingston. You're listening to AM 920, 92.5 FM, or streaming online at mykcr.org. Today is sunny. It's a high of 64. And tonight, mainly clear, a low down to 39. Wednesday, some clouds in the morning. Gives way to mainly sunny skies the rest of the day, a high of 67. Wednesday night, a few clouds, low 43. And Thursday, sunshine through a few passing clouds, that's a high of 69. And Thursday night, a few clouds from time to time, a low of 43. We'll be right back.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Crispy, blazed, toasty, faded, lit. No matter what you call it, if you're high, you're too high to drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Eleanor Arrow from the town of Ulster, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And we're back. You're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. 40 degrees on this Tuesday, April 6th, and Kingston Community Radio is talk radio, so please call in. 331-9255. This portion of Kingston Community Radio is being brought to you by Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, 1099 Morton Boulevard in Kingston, their main office. Let's get back to the on-air studio and join in on the conversation happening in the on-air studio. Welcome back.
Yeehaw! I'm sharing all my personal details with my co-host here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Getting the scoop.
Yeah.
So we don't know where Heidi is. We're not sure if she's going to be in or not. Hopefully she will.
She's busy registering people for Siwakamano.
I know, right? So much going on at the Y right now, and
which is people are so psyched for summer camp and rec leagues. The city announced they're going to do rec league. Volleyball, softball. Last year there was a huge void.
Yes.
The town, the town of Ulster didn't have their kids' rec stuff, and
we should get somebody on the air from the rec department. I know I spoke. Yeah, we had that fifth Tuesday. It would have probably been a perfect time to do it. But they could talk about the programs that'll be available this summer, how to sign up. Maybe we'll reach out, and if we have a slot in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Casey Twombly
is part of the rec department. Yeah.
Knows all that stuff.
Yeah. And I believe Lindsay Timbrook is now the director. We can reach out to Lindsay.
I'm sure she'd be happy to spread the good word. So,
which would be great.
Well, look, see if we got any openings coming up. Anyhow, but camp. So, my camp sadly is not opening.
Well, yours is an international camp. It's hard.
The government's still not accepting international visa applications.
Right.
But Camp Ramapo. You've heard of Camp Ramapo? It's a huge operation, year round. They do programming from for handicapped kids, little kids, adults, not adult, teens.
Oh,
huge array
where's it
of
located?
programming. It's in Dutchess County, Rhinebeck, Red Hook area.
Oh, no.
It's like 10 miles from the. What's the heck is the name of the road? I can't think of it. It's back off of like Milan Hollow Road.
Okay.
Between Slate off of Slate Quarry, sort of between 308. I don't know. It's back in there. 199. But last year, because of the due to the pandemic and their programming was affected in like the towns, they've quickly put together, because they had the resources, staff and resources already in place. They threw together a day camp for local residents, kids, and it was a smashing success.
Oh, great!
And due to overwhelming popular demand, this year they are renting my camp, our facility, because of the pool and the soccer fields and the basketball court. They're renting our facility for 9 weeks from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday for 9 weeks of summer.
So that's really nice for you, right? Because you have people there. It'll be busy.
Kids, and the kids, which will be interesting because geez, I need to, because normally my teenagers, well, they're still kids, but. Seeing little kids running around, like 5, 8-year-olds, I think that'll be neat.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, yeah,
and,
for sure.
They're going to be, the drop off and pickup will be at Camp Ramapo, but then they'll bus them over. So they'll be like at my camp from like 9 to 4, and then they'll bring them back for pickup at 4:30, and
that's great.
Done. Yeah, so it's interesting. It'll be fun.
I think there's a huge demand. I think people, and especially children that haven't been in school, I mean, they have remotely, but haven't been physically in the school buildings. They're really looking for that socialization.
And Calabar has a waiting list.
Oh, they
First
do?
First time in a decade we've had a waiting list, yeah.
Oh, yeah, see? For kids and for parents, too. Let's be realistic. Yeah, it's a huge outlet for them.
Membership is full. So.
Yeah, which is great. I'm happy to see that. And that's why hopefully we keep moving in a positive direction, because these are all good things that are coming around. And, you speak about the rec leagues. And last year there was a lot of people that really were impacted because they looked forward to the softball leagues and to, all the different, that the rec department has to offer, tennis leagues, NJTL, whatever the case may be. So I'm glad to hear that they'll be doing all their leagues again, which will be good. And I think are they doing the camp programs too at the parks? Do we know?
So, yeah, I think
yeah, good.
All
encompassing
the normal Kingston Rec stuff's occurring, and the outdoor baseball dart league at the Elks Lodge starts May 19th.
So tell me a little bit about that. An outdoor baseball dart league. How does that work?
League. That is it's well, there are several. The White Eagle Hall, they have a couple of baseball dart leagues, and this summer one at the Elks is like an offshoot of the baseball dart league that used to be at my bar. That we play at Keegan now on Wednesdays, and it's baseball darts. It's a simulated game of baseball, 2 teams, and you're throwing these darts, larger than normal darts. Tournament darts are called. These big wooden darts, and you're throwing from 20 feet away, throwing at a board that's it's a square, 4-foot square, but it's oriented on a diamond.
Oh, so you go to first base, second base?
Yes, there's a baseball diamond on the board. The pitcher's mound is the home run, first base single, second base double, triple, but they're descending in size because they're harder to hit.
Right.
And then the infield and outfield is divided up into categories: strikes, balls, outs. The base paths have double plays, triple play, run off or pick off move.
Yeah.
And by throwing darts at a board, you are simulating the game of baseball as close as you could without playing baseball. And it's huge. It's like a nationwide thing.
That's great.
I mean, it's played Pennsylvania, Ohio, churches, and
you have official scorekeeper?
Yep. Well, each team you keep score for
your team,
your own team.
Okay.
But yeah, the standings. And this.
Do you have a board? So
Yep.
you're up 3-2, and it's the bottom of the third.
There's like basketball flip.
Okay.
Flip scoreboards. So there's an umpire, a guy on the other team, not guys, girls, co-ed. I don't women play. A person on the other team stands by the board and umpires. you got to pull the darts out between.
Right, sure.
And so you throw darts until you have an outcome.
Oh, wow.
If
Sounds like
there's
fun.
nobody on base and you hit double play, it's a foul ball because you need a base runner to get a double play.
Okay.
If there's 2 outs and you hit sac fly, well, you can't. It's a foul ball because you can only sacrifice. It's not scored correctly. So whatever doesn't directly apply to that situation is a foul ball.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you can it's fun. The most frustrating is you get 1 dart, 1 out. Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Our team is the best. But then the next time you get up, you have like 11 darts. You keep foul.
How many
foul,
on the team?
whatever. Minimum 5, but 5, 6 people is all you want because you get
It's
up.
it's
funner, more fun, and
It's a good thing you explained it because baseball darts sounds a little dangerous.
oh yeah, they're not flying at you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So is there a dartboard for offense and defense, or is it the same dartboard for everyone?
Same board, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no
All right.
defense. So, if one team
Well, I mean,
is hot
batter and yeah.
and the other team's cold, there's nothing you
That's
can do
true,
about
right?
it,
So basically, you're batting every time.
But
you...
it's outdoors. It's under, we have 3 boards. So there's 12 teams, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30 game times.
Wow.
The 3 boards are, sitting next to each other, parallel to each other. It's a rectangular pavilion, so we play the crosswise because you're 20 feet away, and the board, and you have to have a line, so you need 30 feet of room.
So give us a visual of 20 feet. Is 20 feet
this
like?
room, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. This room's only about 18 feet long, so a little bit farther than that.
Well, you
So
have
it's
to
a
have
toss.
Pretty much from where you're sitting to the window.
Yeah,
is
well,
20.
these are 2-foot carpet squares, so 10 carpet squares. So, most people step and throw. You're throwing a ball, you take a step and throw.
Oh, yeah.
Some people, like Robbie Crane, the officer, a couple guys, he plants his feet and boom, just strong arms it. Not a lot of people do
He
that.
has to have a lot of strength.
Yeah,
a lot of upper,
whatever, and
body strength.
a couple years ago, I went to underhand, and like if you Google it, the church leagues in Ohio, pretty much everyone throws underhand.
Oh, really?
It's very repeatable because I have terrible my shoulders hurt, and
Yeah, underhand.
one
you
dart's
take that
there,
pressure.
one dart's there. It's like you got to have the same stroke. So, but underhand, the pendulum motion, it's much more repeatable.
And you get that
Okay,
strength.
I'm constantly going a little bit left, so I'm gonna take a step to the right, and as long as your arm motion's the same, you can compensate,
Right.
or correct.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like golf. If your golf swing's erratic, you're never gonna figure out what you're doing.
No, absolutely not. That's for sure.
But the White Eagle, there's been leagues down there for 30 years. Paulie I don't know, but Paul Shuffle ran the Tuesday night league for a long time.
Okay.
I think he still does, but I know they didn't play. They didn't play at all. The Keegan League, we started and then stopped because of COVID, and then when we restarted again, 3 teams were like, nope. Well, after the governor, after the state said, okay, but you can have, bars can do these sports, whatever. So we tried again in February, but 3 teams were like, nope, not at all.
Oh,
We're not
okay.
playing. So it messed up the schedule, so we scrubbed it. So
Yeah, it's nice now. See the nice weather coming. You
Yeah,
can be right under the
outdoors,
pavilion.
yeah.
You don't have to
It
worry
was
about
funny.
anything.
One of the team, the first team that said nope, we're not playing was there's like a couple postmen, mail carriers on the
Right.
team, and I didn't. Well, I know now, but I guess COVID ripped through the post office. I guess like everybody at the post office got COVID.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
because it's like a government thing, they had to do the 14-day quarantine and all that, and people used up all their vacation time and stuff. So they're like, I'm not risking it. I got like 5 vacation days left for the year. I'm not risking getting sick.
COVID,
So
yeah.
sorry, dart ball, we're not playing. So and that happened 3 teams. Like there's a couple of different mail carriers, but
Sure, that's understandable. Yeah.
yeah. And one person was a teacher, and they're like, no way, I'm not risking it, whatever. So.
Yeah. So dart season did not.
Yeah, which I don't. I got no problem.
Right. Right. Well, that's exciting. That's good. That'll be fun. And when does that start up?
May 19th. Yeah.
May 19th.
Good,
Okay.
I'm assuming. Well, with very certainty, with great certainty, I am assuming that all 12 teams are playing again, and 'cause I've seen people from, at least one person on all the teams over the last, and was like, yeah, when's dart ball? So
Yeah. Good.
definitely going to be.
That's great. Yeah, it's nice to
fun.
see all the
Wednesday nights, it's
yes.
something to do.
Yeah, Dwayne plays in a golf league on Wednesday nights. It's nice. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
it's volleyball's Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night's the night. Yeah, I agree with you.
And, well,
Absolutely.
heck, softball's like every night in the city of Kingston.
Oh,
Between the men and women in the A League, D League, B League.
yeah, I agree.
A lot of softball.
A lot of softball games. And you know what? How about all the sponsors? Because every one of those teams have a sponsor, so there's quite a few sponsors in the community for the softball
it
league.
wasn't cheap. It was like $300.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the umpires got to get paid, and
yeah, you maintain.
fields maintained. Yes, I mean it's part of the rec department, but
still, there's a cost associated with it.
Yeah, they have to be fixed.
Equipment.
every day,
I'm assuming the city give the bats.
No, that's the individuals.
teams?
Individuals and teams do.
Have their bats and things like that. Okay.
Some of those bats, like the triple wall aluminum DiMartino bats, like $300. Like, but you can. It's like comparing a new golf club.
Yes.
To a old wood persimmon head, from the 50s, whatever.
Right. Right. Yes.
Crazy.
No, absolutely true. Equipment is a huge, has a huge impact on your type of
I mean,
flag.
Leagues have restrictions on bats. There's like, little leagues and college and
oh, really?
Because they're so lively.
Okay.
You put one of these crazy triple wall bats in the hand of like a the ball comes off like faster than it comes in. It's like
you have to be careful. Right, I was just going to say that.
Someone
Someone could
literally
really get hurt.
The pitcher's head off, you know.
Yeah.
So
you bring your own bats if you're in the softball league. Okay.
But no, it's fun. So I mean, it was like 20 years ago. Last time I sponsored a team, it was $350.
Yeah.
Back then, so.
Yeah, no, it is. It's expensive. It is.
And I'm excited to see. I want to go to I can't say Renegades game, but Hudson Valley Yankees game. That's cool.
That's exciting that the Renegades where the Renegades played at Dutchess Stadium is now Yankee Farm Team. Yeah. So that is exciting.
They're doing a whole. I hope Joe Osanio is still part of that organization.
Yeah,
I would think it's the same ownership
so.
group.
Yes.
So I would think, and he does a bang up job. So.
Yeah, he does. He does. It's a fun night or a fun day.
Oh yeah, and now it's going to be higher level baseball, and I'm a Yankee fan, so it's even cooler. And they have done a bunch of work, or are doing a bunch of work on the stadium that the county,
Right.
Fortunately, the county fathers have realized that this is a good thing, so they spent. I know they authorized spending like $1.5 million or something like that.
Oh really? That's a tremendous renovation.
I think.
Absolutely.
80% of that, like there's an article in the paper, like 800,000 of that is going towards the lighting, because the lights have to meet a standard of intensity, and you can't have dark spots if you're.
Well, I get that you're running for a fly ball, and in the outfield,
conked on a head, where's the ball,
Right.
Which has happened. Some of those bloopers are kind of funny.
But dangerous, absolutely dangerous. Yeah, so that's when does the season must be started? Yes, Cameron, or soon?
I would think not till summer.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I don't know. It's not as early as the major leagues.
It's not. Okay.
I would probably have to wait till after college gets out, I would imagine, because a lot of these kids.
Oh, true. Yeah. Right.
I'd imagine June.
Okay.
Ish.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's a longer season. I can't. It's almost twice as long as the old Renegades season. So.
Oh, which is great for Dutchess County.
Yeah.
The revenue, people coming in. That's a positive all the way around. So that's great. Did the Yankees win? I don't even know. I kind of got lost in that.
Good.
Did they win their opening game?
No, they lost their opener, and then I think they split with Toronto. They played last night, but I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were watching the basketball.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. So.
And to get Cablevision, right, or Spectrum, whatever, you're either a residence or a business. Residential cables, $100. Business cables, $300. So we pay, at the Elks Lodge, is what I'm referring to.
Yeah, okay.
For us to get the sports package that allows us to have SNY and Yes, it's like $300 a month for TV. not going to do that. I would vote against it. No way.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's $3,600 a year. No, forget it. So we're strapped with that. It's a ripoff. So I guess why did I even bring this up? But we're not a business.
So do you get to what? So you don't. So you don't get like the Yankee.
Yes, or SNY.
So those. Yeah, it really.
That's not part of basic.
Unless you're going to make X amount of dollars at the bar to pay for that cable, it's really not a good return on investment there.
We're
no, I
open,
agree.
2 nights a week,
Right.
Mondays and Fridays, essentially not Wednesdays with baseball darts.
Right.
But, it would be nice to watch the baseball games while people are playing baseball darts. So we're going to have to figure something out. Hulu or a Fire Stick or...
Yeah, you could do a Fire Stick, right? Yeah. Or even an Apple TV. I mean, it would be cheaper than doing the whole...
Yeah, whatever gets a sport. I mean, 'cause, that's the only thing that you really watch there. No one's watching movies or anything.
No, right, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
we just need the sports. So we got to figure something out.
Yes, I have to say, Spectrum, Spectrum could be a whole day of doing research as to the best and most feasible way of getting television into your house. I have to say, I went to Spectrum. First of all, they're very confusing. First of all, their packages, for me, just don't make sense. What they have to offer and what they charge. And I really went to, and I actually went to, like you said, the Fire Stick, and I got, and I have Apple TV and a smart TV, and turned all my boxes back in because it was so expensive. Yeah. And I'm getting the same thing at half the cost. Really, half the cost.
$50 less a month or whatever.
Yeah, half the cost. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you had to pay for your modem. You need your internet. You have to pay for your internet. And the triple play with the phone, nobody really uses a landline anymore. But it's
the bill collectors, the only people that call.
Right, or those robocalls.
Extend your car warranty. Oh my God.
The only thing I ever got on those Spectrum landlines was robocalls.
Yeah,
that was
me too. Robocalls. That's it.
That's
it.
Stupid.
And I never really gave it to maybe more than one person. Just a real close person.
Well, they have
that
machines that just dial numbers like.
Exactly, it's a machine.
A million a minute, and then they hit one, whoop, it goes through, whatever.
Yeah, and really, at the end of the day, on my landline, I mean, we still have the landline. I don't even get up to answer it anymore. The answering machine's there. Anybody who really wants to get in touch with me, my family, friends, call my cell phone.
Text.
Yeah.
To call, you busy? No. Okay.
It's lifestyle wise, it is the most convenient thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what you're doing. Sometimes you have to break away to make a call, but you can text and keep communication going all day long with somebody if you had to.
Yeah.
Without missing a beat with what you have to do.
Yeah.
And
I don't even leave
it's very,
messages
very
for
handy.
people anymore, really, unless it's like a business thing.
Right, because you just text them and say, "I just tried to call you."
She's gonna see that I called, or I'll follow up with a text. Call me when you can.
Yes.
Because you get you pick up your phone. It's like, I got a message. Damn it, I gotta sit there and listen, and it turns out to be a somebody that.
Telemarketer or something.
Whatever. Something stupid.
Yeah. Even in work, it's amazing over the years how you used to pick up a phone and say call up to purchasing or pick up a phone and call over to DPW. Now you just shoot an email over and within a half hour people respond. People respond quicker if you email them as opposed to calling, getting their voicemail, leaving a message on their voicemail.
And sometimes it's much faster.
Right, because
in fact I was over at Toyota getting my car worked on and the supervisor was texting me back and forth to update me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like right there
awesome.
at the shop. Yeah. It's too easy.
Yeah.
So saves him from a trip to the waiting room and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's very
absolutely.
handy.
Yeah. I would imagine I don't work in an office setting. I don't sit at a desk but if for me to check my email, I gotta stop doing what I'm doing, go inside.
Right, go on your email.
But I could, and that to me, send it back and then go back outside, whatever. But I imagine sitting, if you're, oriented around the computer all day, so easy. Email from him, just send it back.
Yeah, and the way our email with the county works, when you get a new email, it pops up in the right-hand corner of your screen, so you see, Sally Smith from DW just answered you, or whatever the case may be.
And if you
So
can't
nice.
dial in directly to a person's office, you got to call a number and the reception, or you wait for the menu to enter extension number, or say, Sally, it's Cameron again. Can I get Chris, or whatever.
Yeah.
That delay, that.
Yeah, call is usually a special thing these days, and it usually ends up about 50% of the time it ends up being a FaceTime.
Yeah,
It
which
does.
is
You're right.
because you can,
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And it's kind of a call is usually kind of something special. Yeah.
Yes.
Almost like a Zoom.
But
It is. Yes, you're right. You're right, Dan. And we have with the county IM, so not only can we email each other, we can IM each other all day too. So which is really nice. Quick question: can I take this document in? Da da da. And then you can respond. Where you used to have to walk down or walk upstairs, look at the. It's great. It really is so much more convenient and efficient work-wise. So.
I saw in was it yesterday's paper that some big study came out, Zoom stress or Zoom anxiety. I guess it's turning out that they're finding out that Zoom is, hi Amanda, more stressful than meeting in person because of the increased, you're seeing your face on the screen, so they're self-conscious about that. You're maintaining more eye contact, which for a lot of people is stressful. And there's a third thing. The active listening, I think you must do to hear people in crappy computer speakers or whatever. And the non-visual clues that you get when you're in a room with someone. Like you can tell, all right, I'm beating this horse to death. I'm gonna move on. People start rolling their eyes, whatever.
It's a whole different culture of speaking. Yes, it is.
Did you see
that
article?
A whole different culture. No, but I can absolutely ascertain what you're saying because
I read it. I was like,
media
oh my
is extraordinarily limiting.
Yes.
And in person, you have all that body language. All that it's an extraordinary amount of communication just with body language.
It helps
how you're
keep
leaning
things
back
rolling.
and how you're moving forward is kind of gone.
Yeah.
In most instances, although a lot of people really work on how their Zoom presentation is, of course.
Yeah.
How you're dressing and making sure you're made up and all that.
And you're worried about someone walking past embarrassing you too.
Yeah, that's kind of
your husband in their underwear.
Still can happen. Yeah, but and very importantly, everybody is part of their signature is what's behind you.
Yeah.
That's true,
that
Dan.
is very much a part of people's signature.
Yes.
With,
The old
with
education
meetings.
secretary, Nancy DeVos, had no books on her bookshelf. How's that for a good educator right there? Good academic leader. Not a single book on her bookshelf.
Yeah, half the time when I'm watching MSNBC or something like that, with the talking heads, the commentators or whatever, they're oftentimes in front of a library, and I
you look
specifically
at the books
study what the books are.
You tell a lot about.
Tells a little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And I do understand how you could have Zoom anxiety because you have all these faces and you're going to present something or say something, and you feel like all eyes are on you at that point.
They are.
And they are. Yeah, you're right. And plus, you can see yourself.
Yeah.
For me, that's the part I don't like is that self-conscious feeling of looking at myself as I'm. Now I'm speaking, and I really do use my hands a lot, or I don't know, whatever the case may be.
It does teach you a lot. It does teach you a lot. But boy, you're absolutely correct. It's a whole different world, other than conference meetings.
It's efficient, but I guess
it is efficient.
If you're prone to anxiety and stress.
It's hard. It's a whole
difficult to deal with, but
it's a whole different arena
get
to
used
really
to it.
get.
It ain't going anywhere.
It isn't, and I think it'll be used much, much more in the future.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think it's a good thing.
Oh, it's a wonderful thing. But I think it's really, really cool to understand the difference. When to have a Zoom conference, maybe it's even a monthly event or a yearly event for a trade organization or whatever, and when to actually do it in person.
Yeah.
Some of it can be Zoom, some of it can be in person. It depends on the kind of presentation it is and things like that. And if we look at it as we're discussing with the way, the whole presentation quality of it is different. maybe for papers, one kind, maybe Zoom is good. But when it comes to an interactive kind of, hands-on type of thing, then you better be together.
Yeah. Right.
So, it can be distinctive. The distinguishing factors of them are obviously becoming more apparent.
But the attendance, too. Was it you that told me you were on a board and it was the first time ever between Zoom that the entire board was there?
Well, I know
Someone told me.
I know that our Boys and Girls Club board, we've had a quorum almost every single time because everybody can do it from the comfort of their homes, their
someone told me
offices.
it was-
Yeah.
It was a big maybe it was a board. It was the first time that every single board member was in attendance.
It might have been something Greg said, Greg Shorvis.
Yeah, something that I
yeah.
heard. I was like, wow, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really does make a difference. I know myself, I used to run out of the office.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
to
look
get
at
to a
that. 8
meeting.
o'clock.
8
All right,
o'clock.
we'll
Time
be
for
back.
break.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you. Nina Postapak, Cameron Rylance, a terrific Tuesday. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. 1099 Morton Boulevard in Kingston is their main office. And you are listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ AM 920, 92.5 FM, and every 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays, Monday through Friday. And yes, as we said, last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. Today, sunny, a high of 64. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 39. Wednesday, some clouds in the morning, gives way to mainly sunny skies for the rest of the day. A high of 67, and Wednesday night, a few clouds, low 43. Thursday, sunshine through a few passing clouds, a high of 69. Thursday night, a few clouds from time to time, a low of 43. And as you notice, that is dry weather and a lot of sunshine and a fair amount of gusty winds, which equals an elevated risk of fire spread today and through the week. Be cautious. We'll be right back.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear, because for 75 years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
but there's a lot more to say. Like, if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So be careful out there. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Paula Strang, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And we're back for the 8 o'clock hour, and this is Kingston Community Radio, AM 920, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. Our call-in line is 331-9255. 331-9255 is your call-in number. And let's get back to the on-air studio with Nina Postapak, Cameron Rylance, and Bill Merchant.
All right. Boy, we are chatting right away here.
We are.
So, we are joined with Bill Merchant in our studio today. But first, Bill, hold on. We have birthdays. We have 2 birthdays to announce.
This is great. I'm so happy.
Today, April 6th, Tuesday. Nina, why don't you read your birthday?
So I have a happy birthday to Lorraine Waitman from your friends at the Hurley Pearlers.
And I have a happy birthday to Pauline Delicio from their friends at the Girls Night Out Book Club. So, let's place these in the randomizer and come up with a winner. Pauline Felicio, congratulations.
Great,
You
Pauline.
are the winner of a Boyce Brothers Dairy cow pie. So go see the fine folks at the Milk House at 62 O'Neill Street. Buy all your dairy products, pick out a delicious cow pie, and share it with your friends and family.
And you know what this time of year means. Going and getting that soft ice cream cone or sundae at the walk-up window.
This
Oh, my
afternoon,
gosh.
when it's in the sun, it'll be perfect.
Oh, perfect.
So, Bill, when's your birthday?
My birthday is actually later this month.
Really?
The day after taxes are usually due,
Oh,
April 16th.
16th.
Yeah.
Happy
What's your
birthday.
sign?
I'm an Aries.
Aries, okay. So spring sign. Aries is spring sign.
Yes.
Cool. I don't know what the heck that means, but I'm an Aquarius.
It means
I'm
I'll
a
be
Virgo. I don't know.
So welcome, Bill. How are you?
Good. How are you all doing?
We're just dandy.
Well, it's springtime and the water's thawed, and gee, the canal would have been open in about now.
Yes,
That's right.
Startup of commerce.
That's it.
And actually, and this is the time of year, actually in a month, it's always the first weekend in May where I go on my annual canoe trip on the Delaware River, Pond Eddy, and always marvel, over the Willowweemek, and we go under the viaduct, the Roebling.
The Roebling Bridge, yeah. One of the
huge earth movement project they did there.
I was just there shooting video
On the other bank,
in
like on the
December.
Pennsylvania side, the abutment and all that they built, and
Oh, there's a lot of great stuff to see there. There's the remains of it. So Roebling built 4 suspension aqueducts of the 5 in America in the canal area, and he built all 5 of them. There was one in Pittsburgh, I think, that the D&H people went and looked at, and then they went and hired the guy. They got to know him because John Roebling was one of the richest men in America because of his wire rope factory.
Really?
So the D&H actually went to him. Their gravity railroad was spec'd out to use iron chain, but we didn't make very good iron back in 1830, and it would keep breaking. And you had these railroad cars with 4 tons of coal each on them. So you can imagine the kind of havoc having your chain break.
Runaway train, literally.
So they go over to hemp rope. And in, I think it's 1830 in their annual report, they're spending like $4,000 for rope for the gravity railroad. And it only lasted maybe a year. Because the D&H Canal was basically started by some Quakers, they didn't operate on Sundays. They had a 17-mile long gravity railroad, and a whole crew of men would go out every Saturday night and take in all the hemp rope until Monday morning.
Really?
So yeah, right. So in
it
1844,
wouldn't get rained on or something?
just to extend the, that's an awful. You think 17 miles and you're going to completely rehook up this rope. It was undoubtedly because it was more cost effective than replacing the ropes. They still had to replace them, but not as
How
frequently.
big was the gauge of the rope? I mean, it had to be like a...
It was probably some pretty decent. I don't know that anybody...
17 miles of that?
17 miles of rope.
Where the heck would you put it? Just a building to put it on?
Right? In a little shed off to the side. I don't know.
Ginormous shed.
So they meet John Roebling, and they buy his wire rope. And then, problem solved, basically. So they knew of him a couple years later when they wanted to figure out how to get across the Delaware without annoying all the guys that had the boats on there. But it's great that you can still see the one aqueduct.
Yeah, and then all the bluestone, I guess, where they used to divert water or something, like channel it off.
Well, yeah, so there was
going along the river, and there's hundreds of yards of laid up bluestone.
What they did originally was they had a rope ferry, so the canal, and there's just a little bit of the bed left on the Pennsylvania side. Barely, you have
Hi,
to know
this
what
is
you're
Tony
looking for.
Marmo
I
from
shot
Norman
some video
Staffing,
there
and we've been
about
bringing
a year
together
ago.
employers and job seekers since 1980.
Dan, do you hear that? Oh, never mind.
So they actually had a rope ferry. So where you would so they built this dam, much to the consternation of the lumbermen that were moving logs. It was their river, according to them.
Right, sure.
No one had problems their whole all the time on the Delaware. So they had what they call a guard lock, so that you wouldn't dump all that hard-won water out into the Delaware. You get out in the Delaware, you put the single animal on, and you just pull yourself across. And then there was on the other side a guard lock, and that was the beginning of the canal. When they go and they build the 2 aqueducts in 1847, they opened those in 49. The whole canal isn't enlarged yet, but they got that section together. But it winds up being higher, so they lose some locks and they gain some locks on one side. And so the old route on the New York side continued its life as a feeder. So they kept capturing the water. Anytime you have water that was above the level of the canal, you figured out a way to get into the canal. So you're seeing all of that. I want to get down. I was planning to go and raft just to see the sections I can't get at easily along Hawk's Nest and stuff.
Yeah, because it's...
Well, and it's private property. Well, is it private property? My understanding is that Sullivan and Orange own the entire canal bed, but people have lived with it so long they consider it their property. Now, I'd like to see a trail go over. I have a dream that we could get a trail
that would be cool.
Well, we could get a trail from the Delaware Aqueduct to the Empire State Trail in Rosendale. And I'm working with some people. We really want to see this happen.
I mean, the
Well, a lot of it's in place. A lot of it's,
We stay at Jerry's Pondetti Canoe Outfitters, and he has a homemade bridge over a lock.
Yeah.
That's right 10 feet off the road.
I'm trying to think now, Pondetti, which lock would that, I should know my numbers, but it's let's see, Pondetti.
Before Berryville, it's after you come down.
Yeah, and so Berryville is so I when I was doing that talk, I was at the Stick It In, which happened to be this is true, right next to where Lock 69 had been. So there was no end of double entendres. The Stick It In, right by Lock 69. I mean, so Pondetti was probably there was 66 and 67, which I visited. So 60, yeah. So probably Pondetti might be Lock 68 would be the one, I think. Yeah. I'm trying to remember how extent. Yeah.
Are you going on your trip this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so you can enjoy canoeing down the Delaware, but you can also study the D&H Canal while you're there. I mean, come on, that sounds like a wonderful recreational activity to me.
Especially
I mean,
when you get a cooler full of beer and a bunch of your fraternity buddies.
Yeah, there you go.
Grand old time. Believe me, it's a grand old time.
So you've been busy, Bill. You've been doing
always,
some presentations.
With the spring?
I've slowed down a little, but I did like 3 earlier this year. I'm still trying to get the Roebling one up. I've got a link to it, but we want to put it on D&H TV. I've got so I did a talk on Roebling and the D&H, a short half-hour, short for me, for the Roebling Museum.
Oh, great.
And I did a thing on immigrants in the D&H Canal for the New Paltz Historical Society. That was great because somebody came and said, "Hey, do you know about this book, How the Irish Became White?" I was talking about my supposition. I can't prove that people of color built the canal. You kind of think they had to have, right? But I sort of said, well, maybe, the Irish wouldn't let them, and they needed the Irish. And so this book is great because it goes into great detail about exactly that. And in fact, probably my surmise is correct. I've not found any primary source that said, we employed people of color. I know from the start when the canal opened, I can say definitively from press accounts, but I can't in that 3-year period when they were building it. And it's very possible that the Irish who they just needed, they were the only ones that would take that work. This book also talks about down south, they preferred the Irish for really dangerous work because their slaves were property.
They were cheaper.
So, it was the loss of life. If somebody died, if an Irishman died, no skin off you.
Exactly.
If your slave died, you're out $900, which was real money in that.
Irish slaves were cheaper than slaves because of the
sad.
No investment. Yeah.
And then this book talks about how they basically politically sort of allied themselves with other white people, didn't talk about being Irish Catholics, and kind of rose up. It was a way of sort of getting up in life.
Which I always find kind of amusing that for centuries, Irish people tried to hide their Irishness, but it's come booming back. With the growth of Celtic culture, and now it's there's it's totally celebrated, which is
absolutely
interesting.
Well, in the 19th century, I have to tell people they were considered below slaves in many instances.
No Irish need apply.
Yeah, No, they were
they lost their accents.
Way prejudiced against.
They tried to lose their accents, assimilate, became Presbyterians, whatever. So.
But meanwhile, there were these jobs that required people who worked for less than the so-called natives, from the people that had taken over, the European settlers. We've needed them all along, and certainly the D&H Canal would not have been built nor operated without immigrants, and largely the Irish.
So now your presentations that you do, are they on YouTube? Like, can we go online?
You can go to D&H TV. We've got we must be up to 75 video that we produced in the last year. I'm looking forward to the blooper reel. My assistant, the great Courtney McNamara, for our anniversary of our first release, is been culling. It's gonna be, she'll be in it a little too, but I have a feeling it'll be largely my muffs. I can't wait to see it.
Oh,
Really.
that's great.
Yeah,
That's really
I think
great.
I think April 14th that'll come. Just in time for my birthday. She's going to make fun of me.
Why not?
But all of my presentations, there's in fact our top performing video. Last I looked, it was an hour and 40-minute general history of the D&H that I did for the Butterfield Library in Cold Spring. They're not even on the canal, but I think it's because it's the general history that the most people have looked at it.
Sure, no, absolutely, yeah.
But it's
Short
amazing because you
overview.
think the shorter is what's going to perform the best, but this hour and 40-minute long had, last I looked, the most views, But it just shows how much people want to, enjoy the topic. And I'm proud to say that my talk that I did last year for the Erie Canal Museum on the marginalized populations was used as a college class by one of the SUNYs. I got one of my remarks.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're, out there educating the world. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's one thing, right, that came out of the pandemic that's been wonderful. People have utilized YouTube and, presentations that you would normally have done are now being recorded and available online. And it really is a really excellent way to get your presentations out with the ease of being in your home and watching it whenever, and then to use in the classroom.
We're reaching more people than we ever did because of our virtual outreach. We will always have a virtual component to everything we do, because it's just, I expect when we open about a year from now that we'll get a lot more people in, both from the fact that we've been closed for 2 years, from the fact that we're creating a wonderful new museum. Really exciting. That it's really going to be a great attraction.
Any updates on that front?
Well, you can
in the spring,
you can see on D&H TV the virtual museum tour season 2 is. So season 1 was just a video of our now no longer extant museum, a tour of the old museum, which we needed to document for history anyways. But season 2 is behind the scenes, what's going on in the building. You get to see the construction updates, and as we get moving further along in the creation of the exhibits, that stuff as it gets installed. And we've got a wonderful, so the building was built in 1797, and then in 1827, Simeon Depew, so it was Simeon and Arietta Depew, Simeon's first wife and the mother of Jacob, Hasbrook Depew. Jacob, his father deeds, his mother dies in 27. His father deeds the building to his son, and the son builds an extension. Now the father lives another decade. But in there, so in 30 years after the building's built, they've added on to one end. And so in the attic of the 1827, you've got a perfectly preserved gable end with the original red barn paint.
Really?
You can see how they pointed in 1797. If you know about building, you always wonder how they put. It's a little time capsule, and I'm going to shoot a video because nobody will get up there. But I was there with the paint analysis folks 2 weeks ago. We're doing historic paint analysis to inform the colors that we'll use in the house. Right. We need more. We have to go for more funding. We took more. Boy, it gets expensive. We took more samples than the grant we got covered, with the idea that we're going to look for more funding to do more research. But we have enough samples that we'll be able to say definitively what color the trim was. We'll pick what color was the ceilings.
That's very cool. Do you think pigments and dyes fade over time? Do you think they'll be able to?
These people, Mary Jablonski is apparently like the premier.
Really?
Our contact at the state when Michael Lynch when we.
Is it like linseed oil based? Or
it probably were, yeah. Linseed was a very common carry. You were making it for linen, and so you had the seeds, and so it was a ubiquitous finish. It's not as a woodworker, it's not a good finish. It's not a sufficient vapor barrier. It degrades over time. Really? But it was ubiquitous, and the early paints used it as a binder, so it was most likely. But they'll be able to tell. I mean, we know for sure that the trim was this dark red, and in fact, it's even captured in the exterior and the part that John Novi added on. There's the exterior, and they're all in that same dark red.
Cool.
We're going to make the case. Our architect, Rick Alfandre, who's a High Falls resident. He just loves the idea of the dark red. He thinks it'll be really eye-catching on the street.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We want to be a little more rigorous, but the fact is, it's the one color we can say definitively that in the earliest period,
If that's
probably
the-
all the trim work was
if
that
that's
red.
the color of the house originally, that's cool as heck.
Well, and we hope that that's that we can make a strong case, and the analysis will be part of that, even
yeah,
though we
sure,
can
looking
see
at
it.
the layer, you know,
They've
find out-
taken a sample, and that's one of the samples we'll have
layers.
processed in the first
I mean,
go
my
round.
house is over 100 years old. It was gas piping in the walls, and when a chip comes off on some of the woodwork, you look at the edge of it, and there's
You can see, how many, and a lot of lead paint there.
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
sure,
and we
many
didn't
layers.
ban,
I don't
you know.
eat the chips, so it's
well, good for you.
That's
yeah,
a
you
good
know,
thing.
yeah.
That's a good
I
thing.
discouraged my son from eating
And how was he doing in school, that young man?
He's a
Oh,
smart
good.
kid.
All right, that's
Smart kid.
okay.
Immune
Then he
system's
didn't
great,
eat much of
yeah.
that lead. Yeah,
Immune system's great. But the pointing, the shape of the point, or the
Yeah, people
the
talk
way
about
they
how
did
they, what material they used, and in fact, the other thing we want to do is do a mortar analysis.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna
takes
say,
more money. That's all we.
I know money. Everything's money. I know.
I think what we $750 a sample. I think is what we're. So we're looking at trying to find $1,500 or $2,000 for a mortar sample to inform when we do. The building's in pretty good shape, but at some point down the line, we will go and point it so it stays in good shape.
Yeah,
Right,
sure.
But if you're wondering what shape they used, you
That's
see
what I'm
different
talking-
buildings.
yeah,
Sometimes it's very a triangular and stuff. So this is just and there's already signs of various materials. So I've got to parse that a little. In the 30 years, did they need to go? You wouldn't think in the first 30 years anything would happen to a stone building. But we just need to get the analysis done, and
Cool.
It's amazing though how they can do that now.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're saying, with the paint and how they can analyze each. Like you take a little chip like that, and they can figure out exactly.
turn it on its side and put a big microscope and blow it up, and then and they've got the experience from years of doing this.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to see what we find out. We're thinking we're going to find some sort of white, but not all whites are the same. So it would be nice to be able to point to a color and this was the color it was in this period, or
Sure. Absolutely. What is your anticipated opening date next year? Spring of next year?
Yeah, I don't know that the board has gotten into that. We're having a big fundraiser with Open Space Institute being hosted at Mohawk Mountain House. Nina Smiley has offered up the place.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I think it sounds like we may want to be open. That's going to be next March. And I think we're talking about, nobody's really nailed it down. Certainly by April or May is a traditional opening date for seasonal museums.
Sure.
Well, seasonal museums can't call themselves museums. They're not open enough according to New York State law,
That's right. Yeah, because
We will be a museum
I know
again.
That from the Person
Yeah.
House, we can't call ourselves a museum
Yeah.
because we're only open during the summer months.
I think it's 1,000 hours a year, and if you do the math, those of us that are open weekends, May through October, which is like the vast majority of small historical societies, do not meet that metric. Now, my institution met that metric, then it stopped, and we are going back to that with the opening. With the Mid-Hudson Visitor Center, we anticipate being open at least 5 days a week, and the museum will be voluntary donations. We'll have a suggested donation, and it'll be open to the public, and that alone is going to bring in many, many more people than we used to get. So this is all in keeping in our mission to tell this story to as many people as we can,
Right. See,
in a much more visible location,
Yeah,
and a much more historically correct location. This is a building that
you're
prospered
right.
because of the canal.
The canal.
Well, it grew up before the canal, but both Simeon and Jacob, Simeon both worked for the canal company, which was common. They would hire people along the way. But he also sued them for damages allegedly done by the canal company building the canal. He wins it. He sues them for $3,000 or $4,000, gets $1,200, which again is real
I
money.
mean, it was only a few feet away from the canal, right? The
Well,
side of the building?
The original route was probably, I haven't measured it, but maybe 100 feet away from the building. And then they rerouted it in 1850 to be right in front of the building.
Okay, I thought it was right there. Would it be possible to, create a little sample of filled-in ditch with water?
Well, it's interesting you should say that. There's a big Christmas tree right where the canal bed was. And it winds up that we have a deal with the Civic Association that we will always maintain a tree.
Oh.
And it got out, and it was partially my fault, our great design team. So we're going to have a hoagie, a mule driver, cut out, and it's going to feature a girl, because I guesstimate 30% maybe of the mule drivers were girls. But women are the most marginalized of the marginalized. I get less information on them. There's more information on people of color. So women of color, yeah, I get it. They're double marginalized, right? But we can say definitively, and in fact, we've located recording the Canal Society of New York through the Hudson River Maritime Museum. We've got an 1958 recording of a woman, Catherine Huftel, talking about being a mule driver on the D&H Canal. Yeah, and so we're making a video, my assistant and I, through a grant we got that was funded by the CARES Act. We have a 2-year, I got an iPad Pro, and it was a NISCA, no, it was IMLS, the Museum and Library Services, the Institute maybe, and Manny, the Museum Association of New York. We've got a 2-year Zoom, 2-year all of the Adobe suites. We're getting training, and our first project is going to be this short video about the life of Catherine Huftel that will then be linked to this sculpture in front of the museum. The sculpture's still there. They had a beautiful stylized canal boat that they wanted to put right where the canal bed was. And it would be a seating area and a selfie spot. Well, the Christmas tree happens to be smack dab in the middle. So, for a variety of reasons.
Well, maybe doesn't that tree hang over the building and create a danger?
So the Civic Association, they think they've saved the tree. They gave us what for? And meanwhile, we've been talking about, so Grady Park is along the earlier canal route, owned by the Canal Society. The town of Marbletown now leases it from us. We're putting in a holiday tree. We've been trying, when I was the treasurer of the Civic Association, the then president, we talked about trying to get the tree lighting away from right along 213 over to this much safer spot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But everybody was up in arms. I think if the community actually was polled, in a more proper, but we kind of just, and everybody was like, we were going to cut the tree down tomorrow. No, this was a plan. We were thinking about it. We'd love to put this boat there.
Well, that woolly aldehyde and all the others, so pine tree rust and all these other things. So.
We'll just see what happens down the line. We were never going to do anything without engaging the community, but they made it sound like we really took a black eye. I don't want to talk trash about anybody, but I was a little upset that people were kind of making it sound like it was some dire thing that was going on. And in fact, it was a community discussion that under more normal circumstances, COVID certainly played into it too.
Even if it was only like a 20-foot long section of the canal, like the width and depth. Like if you, like, that's what the canal was, like a ditch. It's
if we move the tree, and that we can do, don't tell them I said that. But if we move the tree, sure, now I've done it.
Now everybody knows.
We could then also put that stylized. Why we like this is that from the street you'd evoke the canal era. This is a town that became huge. It had the water power, but without that transportation network, it wouldn't have grown the way it did. And so to evoke that, that was 6 foot of water until 1902, directly in front of that building, when coincidentally the canal company purchased the building from Jacob Depew, who they revered. They loved Jacob. He worked for him. He was a toll collector, but he was sick with a serious rupture. I don't know. So he sells, for $20,000, he sells a lot of property, including a cement mill, to the canal company. He lives another 17 years, so I don't know. He thought he was dying,
that
but
rupture
rupture was not as severe as he thought.
You got 20 grand in your pocket back then.
Yeah. Well, you always got to wonder. Yeah, you got to scratch your head at that point. You go, I wonder. Rupture. You know what medical science was like.
They didn't let enough blood or something.
Yeah, right.
Put a couple more leeches on.
Yeah. How many people died because of that? Huh?
Right.
Let out the bad humors.
That's right. Yeah.
Or the dilaudum. If the cure didn't fix you, the medicine would. But, the dilaudid or whatever.
Well, nothing's forever, and none of us get out of this alive. But but still.
There's the morphine, the liquor and the morphine. The
laudanum. Yeah.
Laudanum or whatever.
Laudanum. Yeah. It would be the.
You got a cough here?
Opiate,
take some of this.
Yeah, that'll cure you.
And even Coca-Cola, if you remember.
Yeah.
The original formula.
Yeah.
I think it still uses some sort of a Coca
That's why it perks you up.
But we don't know, because we're...
Secret formula.
Of course, none of us are drinking it now, right, because of Georgia. It just depends on your...
Yeah, I'm Pepsi all the way. Oh, it's another reason not to like Coke. 'Cause I'm a Pepsi guy. I always poo-poo.
Always been Pepsi.
I personally think Coke's on the right side of this one, but that's a whole... no politics. All right, I'll stop.
The history segment. No, not a political segment.
Yeah.
So we're getting down.
They're both great for cleaning your bike.
Yes.
Yes, and Chrome, apparently.
Right, don't
Here's a
drink
product,
it,
yeah.
but
Yeah, well, soda in general at that point.
You shouldn't be drinking any of it, but oh well.
so we're getting down the bottom of the hour. So Bill, why don't you give us a little contact information, your website, how they get
Canalmuseum.org. You go there and there's a link to D&H TV, our YouTube channel. You can also just go to YouTube and find D&H and we come up pretty quick. We have our own URL. I forget the exact one. And then also we have a great Google map of the entire canal route that you can go and find
that's
all these
nice.
spots where you can legally, publicly accessible sections of the D&H Canal. As we release my Where is Our Historian videos, where I'm out in the field describing what had been there, those get linked to each site. And then now and then pictures as I get them. It's a living document that I'll be working on the rest of my life. As I get a photograph that I know is of a location, I link it to there so that people get a better sense of what was there back in the day. This is immensely important and informed the entire route. I'm working right now with the contractor because we're updating the National Historic Landmark registration, and I just got an email waiting for you folks. They wanted a list of the towns along the canal that are still extant. And so I gave them that list, and he came back and said, how many of them were created because of the canal? And I'm sort of scratching my head going, yeah, no, pretty much, Even Rondout prospered because the canal ended there. Rondout in 1825 was 2 farms. It wasn't really a town yet. And as you go down the line, all those towns became, so I think I've got to go over the list before I'll say definitively, but I'm pretty sure virtually all of them, And you mentioned Pond Eddy and Bluestone. The Minisink battlefield has on it a bluestone quarry, and the only reason they could exploit that bluestone there was because they had the canal right down the hill to move it out. Otherwise, there was no transportation network until the Erie Railroad comes through in the 1850s,
All right, Bill, we got to go.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We
Great, I
appreciate
know.
it.
Gotta get
Where's the
rolling.
time go? I don't know.
Thank you very much. All right,
Well,
Dan.
thank you for having me.
Thank
Take
you.
it away.
Thank you so much for being with us here at this last half hour with Bill Merchant and Nina Poshapak, Cameron Rylance. What a wealth of information in 1/2 hour. And that's because you are on WGHQ's Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM. Tuesday, April 6th. And it's 43 degrees now here in Uptown Kingston. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by the Kingston Lions Club, serving the Kingston-Ulster County area since 1941. Call them at 901-9067 for more information. And weather and forecast for Kingston and the surrounding areas one more time. Sunny today, a high of 64. Tonight, mainly clear, low of 39. Wednesday, some clouds in the morning, gives way to mainly sunny skies the rest of the day. High of 67. By the way, there's no rain in sight all the way through Thursday night. And Wednesday night, a few clouds, low of 43. Thursday, sunshine through a few passing clouds, a high of 69. And Thursday night, a few clouds from time to time, a low of 43. And dry weather, sunshine, and gusty winds equal an elevated risk of fire spread today and through the week. Be vigilant. We'll be right back.
Thanks for starting your day with Kingston Community Radio on 920 WGHQ AM Kingston and 92.5 W223CR FM Kingston, New York. Magic 92.5.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed. We are a global force for good. Support causes that matter. Change lives. Change communities. Change the world. We can do more together than we can alone. Join in. Experience the joy of serving. Be part of the movement. Give back. Let's unite the world for good. We are Lions. You can be too. Visit weserve.org.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. we make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, my name's Maggie. I'm from Copiague, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This last portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by Kingston Lions Club. Serving the Kingston Ulster County area since 1941, call them 901-9067 for more information. This upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Rondout Savings Bank. You're with us on KCR, Kingston Community Radio, WGHQ, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. 331-9255 is your number to call in. And let's get back to the on-air studio now with Nina Poshapak, Cameron Rylance. A terrific Tuesday, and our new guest. Thank you.
Our new guest, another historian, Peter Roberts. Good morning.
Morning, Cameron.
Welcome.
Yeah, good
Morning, Nina.
Yeah,
It's good to be here.
And
See you again.
Well, you have an interesting. Let's jump right in here. You have an interesting topic that sort of ties into Bill Merchant.
It is. It's a follow-up to Bill Merchant.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Couldn't have worked out better. So
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Greenkill Park. It's really a fascinating story. It turns out that Greenkill Park is located about a mile southwest of Eddyville. So going from Kingston, if you take a Beale Street, you go along the Rondout, you go into Eddyville. And then from Eddyville, before you go over that bridge to Esopus, you go along the Rondout. And about a mile from there, right now there's a New York State fishing access point where people launch their boats, canoes, kayaks. And across the street from there was an entry to a resort. It was called Greenkill Park. And Greenkill Park thrived from around 1910 and actually was active until, the 1970s or so. But there were changes in ownership, interesting stories along the way. And initially that area was the limestone quarries, which extended all the way from Rosendale and Lawrenceville, and came all along the Rondout and actually went right into Kingston. If you think of a Beale Street, you have those kilns there. And then it came to Kingston.
You went across those giant quarries, right? Across where Callanan's used to be, and
right
in there now.
Where Callanan area is, that was where those large concrete silos were along the Hudson. And that's where Scenic Hudson, is developing it now. So that whole area was cement. But what happened was that the cement industry died out. Natural cement industry, or Rosendale cement, died out around 1900 or so. Reason being that Portland cement, which was a more synthetic type cement, or at least it had additives, which Rosendale didn't, and that became a favored cement. So all those the cement industry really deteriorated, and the Rosendale Cement Company turned this area of Greenkill Park, again between Eddyville and Bloomington on the Rondout, they turned it into a resort. And in 1914, it was a pretty good-sized resort with, I think, something like 17 different good-sized cottages. They had an inn, which overlooked, on a bluff, overlooked the Rondout. They had about room for 50 people in that inn. And they had a large gathering point called the casino. They had a golf course, tennis courts.
I know. I was amazed when I read that.
And it's just amazing.
It really was.
It was a true resort, and they had a pretty good following. In their initial brochure in 1914, they had.
Was it like high end? Was it for families? Or?
I think it was a moderate to higher end type resort. I think a lot of people from Kingston went there, but
like dinners in the evenings.
They had dinners. I think a lot of people came up from the metropolitan area to visit the spot. It was
Dayliner or whatever, right?
They would come up by Dayliner. They would take a boat to Eddyville. And then from Eddyville to the resort was less than a mile. And it's sort of interesting because the pictures make it look very bucolic.
Yes.
They're, it doesn't look like it used to be a quarry or a place where they had limestone kilns. It
would have been burned to make the limestone.
Well, it was quite a turnaround. It was quite a turnaround because it was
No,
very rural.
The Rosendale Cement Company built this?
Yes.
So, like, they just said, fellas, we got to do something here. Why don't we throw some buildings up? And
I think,
to put in a golf course in turn of the century couldn't have been an easy feat.
No, right?
Yeah.
No, and they, how long did the Rosendale Cement Company own it? Do you know? Or
Well, they had it for a good period of time, but of course the Depression area hit it.
20 years
later. So in 1934, they couldn't meet mortgage payments, went into foreclosure, and it was sold. But let's talk a little bit about what happened between 1914 when it started and when it went bankrupt, 1932 or 1937, I guess was the date. But it turned out that the resort was where a heavyweight champion trained by the name of Max Schmeling.
Really?
Max Schmeling was a German.
Yeah.
He was the world heavyweight champion.
Such an interesting story.
He came to New York City to fight. He was fighting against a guy by the name of Jack Sharkey, whom he had defeated for the world championship. So this was 1932. And they chose Greenfield Park, which they called Greenfield Lodge at that point in time. And Sharkey was there for, I think, a month or so training. And he's an unusual guy. He extremely fit, but he didn't do the usual thing, doing road work that boxers do. Apparently he spent a lot of his time playing tennis and playing golf. And according to one article, tending his geraniums.
Gentleman pugilist.
So people, the New York press made fun of Kingston because he had chosen this area to train in. And one UPI guy said, sportsman said that Kingston was a fur trading post up the Hudson, if you can imagine.
People were not happy, right?
And then there was great interplay because the politicians in town were upset with that. But it was interesting how Schmeling was greeted. You know, here we are between two world wars. It was 1932, not too removed from the First World War, really. And yet they gave him a ticker tape parade when he arrived by train and ferry. And then he went to City Hall, where the mayor gave him an 18-inch key to the city. And then they proceeded to have a parade with bands, etc. The cars were decorated with German and American flags. And then at Academy of Green, they broke away, and they went to Greenkill Lodge, which would have been only 3 miles or so from uptown Kingston. And they had
Sharkey was there, too?
No, because Sharkey was whom he was fighting. So this was not his training camp. Right?
Oh, I thought you said Sharkey was here, tending his geraniums.
No.
I'm sorry. Schmeling was tending his geranium. Sharkey was the fellow he was going to fight in New York. Sharkey was a
Max
Bostonian.
chose to come up here.
So Schmeling,
or his American agent did, or whatever.
Yeah, so Schmeling decided to do that. And eventually Schmeling lost in a split decision down in New York City on Long Island. I guess it was an open air boxing site, 70,000 people.
Yeah, the giant stadium.
Right, yeah.
But while Sharkey was here, FDR visited. FDR was governor of New York State in 1932. Okay. And he and Eleanor came down. It was Memorial Day weekend.
Down the road, not that far.
And he actually greeted Schmeling in German, interestingly enough. And
FDR, could he walk at that point?
No, he
in a wheelchair?
Yeah, he was in a wheelchair, I believe, at that time.
Which traveling back then couldn't have been easy if you were mobility impaired.
No.
Huh.
And he and Eleanor and his son Elliot watched Schmeling spar. There's a pretty neat photograph of Schmeling in a very glorious robe, shaking hands with FDR, with Eleanor in between.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that was
They spoke German and yeah.
Well,
And that-
I mean, you've heard of Max Schmeling, but never
Yeah.
knew any. Wow, that's
Schmeling actually lived until 2005. He was 199 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty good for a boxer, I
Yeah,
suspect,
yes,
right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he can walk or talk. He was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
that is
that's
amazing.
wild. Huh.
But now the story gets even more interesting. It's 1937. It turns out that the Kingston Trust Company, which would become Key Bank, owned the property because of mortgage obligations not being met. And it went for sale, and it was bought by a lady in New York City. She sold it a few days later to a group of ladies that were based out of High Falls. And then that group of ladies sold it again to another group. And the person that came in control of that was Father Divine, the black evangelist. Now, Nancy spoke about Father Divine a while back, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And
So
that's
where his utopia was?
well, that was his intended main headquarters at Greenkill Park. Now, it was 1937. And to sort of open up the resort, it turned out that he brought 1,700 people on a steamer up from New York City. They paraded from the Rondout to Greenkill Park, along Beale Street through Eddyville. And they had a 2-day celebration for arriving at the promised land, which is what he called his resorts.
Yeah, I said utopia, but yeah.
Same thing, yeah.
Wow.
So they had
100 people.
I know.
Yeah.
Like the Kingston,
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day parade.
And he repeated it again in August, a little later that year, with a similar number of people. And then in November of that year, something interesting happened. The inn was destroyed by fire. And it wasn't unusual.
Serious?
It wasn't unusual for his properties to
It was
have
fully,
burned.
It was fully insured?
There was no insurance on any of his properties in Ulster County, of which he had many, something like 30 different properties in Ulster County. Didn't have insurance, wasn't rebuilt again, but they kept it as a resort for his followers. But
Any speculation on that fire? Like why? I mean, if it's not insured, you wouldn't burn your own building down. Disgruntled locals want, hey, we don't need these people.
well, of
here.
course, a lot of the locals weren't very happy
Yeah,
that he and his large group of people were buying up properties. They owned.
And did they? Do you know if they had tax-free? Was it religious?
Yeah, that I don't know, but
That would be disgruntling, I guess. you
yeah,
know.
but of course the neighbors weren't happy. Father Divine owned a lot of properties in New Paltz, High Falls. He had farms in Stone Ridge, in Olive Bridge, also up in the Sorgeties area. And you'll know
His
what.
followers, were working them or
Yes.
own them
Yeah.
and lease them.
Well, they nobody's
Because,
quite
now
quite.
Now you're talking about like, was it a, indentured servitude type thing, taking advantage of his zealous followers, or
No, I think they were very loyal. I think the people that bought these properties had the means to do that. Father Divine's finances were very uncertain. There were no real records kept. People couldn't understand where all his money came from. He had a bevy of automobiles, Duesenbergs, etc., that he would travel around in. He had very fancy suits.
Evangelicals have that type of thing, or the non-traditional religious leaders.
But he managed the thing
Bakers or
pretty well. And he also had the mansion house down in Wilbur off Chapel Street. You know that house. It's off a large house off of Chapel Street that spins around. Yes,
gorgeous
That
estate.
was just
Yeah,
bought
still there.
recently, and
Right, yes.
$2 million purchase price on that thing.
But he They were there for a long time at that house. Father Divine's followers were there until 1985. So that was controlled by them for a long time.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that in itself is a pretty interesting history. They had young boys there that went to Kingston High School that were actually not taken away, but separated from their families in the metropolitan areas.
It's like Scientology or something like that.
You know, it's an interesting story.
Now, what's
Yeah.
in that area now?
Well, that's another good question because back in 1971, Father Divine's followers sold off, and it was bought by a gravel and sand company, and it was quarried again for gravel and sand in that area. And now we're nearly 50. Well, we're 50 years since then, and it's still a gravel and sand pit, and it's called Duke's Pit.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
You know exactly where that is. If you go
I've
along,
been trying to place where you were. So over that
Yeah.
ridge it's on the roundabout there.
yes.
Ah, because there's just a little bit along the road, you know, and
Yep.
then there's the ridge.
Now
So
Duke's,
that ridge is what they're quarrying, probably, right?
I'm sure. Yeah,
Because that backs up the quarries on 32. You know, on the other side of that ridge on Beale Street.
Yes.
You know, which is
Yeah.
always blew me away as a kid that they were so. You know, you could walk from my house and stand on the edge of that cliff and see the Rondout Creek.
Yeah.
It blew my, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It was a mind blower to me, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that same vein
Yeah.
of rock and all that.
Yes. In fact, along DeWitt Mills Road there,
Yeah.
as you come out of Eddyville, you can see kilns right on the
Yeah,
road, and
yeah.
there's a power line actually that goes above there,
Over that high. Yeah.
and there's also a gate in that same region that looks just like the gates that are on the Rondout that entered the resort from the these stone pillars
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
probably maybe 8 feet tall.
Grand. Like, what the heck were
Yeah.
these built?
So you'll see there's one very well preserved off of DeWitt Mills Road that you can see.
You can see it right
Yeah.
now. Is the perfect time to see it before
Yeah.
the leaves come out.
Yeah.
So that was like the entrance to.
I think
Greenfield Park or
the
something?
main entrance to Greenkill Park was on Creek Locks Road along the Rondout,
Okay.
across from that
Yeah, yeah.
that boat launch that we talked about.
Yeah.
And there's one pillar there as well, still standing. There were 2 pillars.
There's
There was a
pretty
sign
big
on
house up
top.
right- There's a big house right on the ridge there.
That's beyond the property.
Oh,
That's
that's
much
past it?
closer to Eddyville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering because there's a
And there-
grand house up there. Like I was wondering if
Yeah.
that was part of it.
It wasn't, I don't think. And there are no structures apparently on the property now, according to some neighbors that I happened to meet that were hiking in the area, walking in the area. So all of that is gone. But if you look at these pictures in an advertising supplement for Greenkill Park in 1914, you can actually see a limestone kiln in the picture on the property. So I thought it might be fun to try to find that in the spring if the owner's willing to show me or allow me to take a
Now, do you
look.
know if Duke or whatever, do they own the whole property?
I'm not sure of that. That's something I'd like to find out, whether their property goes all the way to the Rondout or not.
Just 'cause
I don't know.
Permission to stomp around back there. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's I mean, I doubt every trace is
Yeah.
completely erased.
Oh, yeah, I would think you would. Definitely find.
I would be hopeful that the current owner would let me
Yeah, for the
take a
sake
look
of
at that. Yeah,
historical, you know,
yeah.
explain the situation maybe.
So where'd the name Dukes come from?
No idea.
Turned out that the guy that owned
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
the guy that owned this for I think a good period of time lived in Connolly, and he was a John Wayne fan.
Oh.
Supposedly, and he
Okay.
called it Duke's Pit, and the banner is very prominent, still there at the entryway.
There's big money. I mean, huge money in that. Gravel and building. Whatever. It's.
But he passed away not too long ago at a relatively young age, and there's a new owner currently.
Oh, okay, yeah. But that banner there was a picture in the presentation that you sent to me, and it goes right across, right, to the,
It does. It's very, very prominent.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. What an interesting story.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's Father Divine. That guy keeps rearing his head every
Yeah.
once in a while.
He certainly
Had his fingers in a lot of
Yeah.
A lot of pies.
Yeah. No.
When he realized that Greenkill Park wouldn't be a headquarters for him anymore, he focused on 2 other resorts on the Hudson, one being in Milton called Elverhoy, and the other being what was called a Crum Elbow property, which is across from the FDR home. And that was interesting, too, because he advertised that his place is FDR also, Father Divine Retreat.
That's a pretty good point.
And apparently Eleanor Roosevelt interacted with him on at least one occasion. Yeah. So a lot of little local history that I certainly didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and the resort, I found that so interesting. I mean, I never knew there was a resort down there. Or, yeah, and that's a good 20 years that resort operated.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all related to the water, the river. Steamboats. Dayliners up. The canal boats up and down, and now the teenage canal was winding down by then. The early
Yes.
20th century.
Yeah.
So.
The canal closed pretty much 1890 type time frame, although I guess there was still some transportation.
Along the demise of the cement and,
all the other industries.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's still a sand and gravel pit.
So let me tell you a little bit about our show this coming year, our exhibit at the Friends Museum. Okay, the exhibit's on signs in Kingston. The Majeska Sign Studios, you'll remember that name. Sure. They were very prominent in store signs, billboards, if you think of the Catskill Game Farm, for example. Well, Carl Majeska, who was the son of the founder, Gus Majeska, he still lives in town, and he's donated their photographic renderings of their signs in place. So we have a lot of signs around Kingston area. And a lot of the photographs are terrific because they were done professionally initially in the 1930s. So you have a lot of stores in Kingston with these great signs,
Painted.
Some painted and some neon. And Timely Signs is working with us to blow up these signs. We also have a neon sign that's going to be a Majeska neon sign that was redone by Light Bright Neon on Down Street. And Matt Dilling, who's a partner there, is installing it inside our museum.
Wow. How old is this sign, the neon?
Yeah, I don't have the full time period, but I'm going to say it was probably from the 50s, 60s. Time period.
What was the sign up?
Yes, it was Luigi's Restaurant. Luigi's Restaurant was at the corner of Glasgow Turnpike and 9W.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was operative into the 80s, maybe, and started north.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh, Luigi's. That's cool.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's a wonderful exhibit.
So it's going to be fun. Yeah, we also have the K-May Corset Shop sign.
Oh, I remember that.
That was on Clinton Avenue. You'll remember that.
K-May Shop.
Yes, and Rupco had saved that sign, and they're going to allow us to display it in the museum.
That's great. When is that going to be opening?
We're going to start in July. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. But we'll have
limited indoor capacity.
I think we'll have to see where we're all at then. What we can do, what we can't do.
Guidelines issued by the state, but
Yeah.
it's hard to apply some of those in a small.
I think it's
historical house or whatever.
I think it's going to be doable. It's in the museum. It's in the museum part, or what we call the gallery part, by that courtyard, and we could certainly open up doors. Limit the number of people that come in at a time, but I think it'll be a fun show, and I think we'll.
It's like
absolutely.
Memory lane, I'm sure. For a lot of people, the old signs and businesses that you probably forgot about.
Nina probably remembers the beer signs that were at the head of Wall Street. If you're coming down Wall, they had huge Schaefer beer signs that were up above the buildings,
right?
Up above Montgomery Wards.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it's just an era where signs were just so profuse all over town.
It evokes so many memories about the businesses and everything that was up there, in addition to just the signage and so forth.
Yeah.
Oh, that is exciting. That'll be a great exhibit.
One of the great photographs is of Schneider's when they first moved uptown, and they had a wall there facing towards the north that was painted by Majeska signs that advertised the business.
Yeah, but you can still,
They had a
like,
neon
inside
sign.
Broadway, you can still, the side of Fidens. There's
Yes.
a bunch of big brick buildings. There's probably
And then from Green Street, you can see Jennifer's,
Yeah.
for instance.
Right,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
There's another tires somewhere. Anyhow.
Yeah, the Jennifer sign's a good one because it's been there so long and it's still preserved.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
That good lead paint
Yeah.
they got.
And that was painted by the Majeska Sign Studios also.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
See, now O Positive does the murals.
Yeah.
They'll be there
That's
forever, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we got to go.
Good, thanks.
So thank you
Thank
so
you so
much. That
much.
was a cool segment, so we appreciate
Well,
it.
it's very interesting.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening. Have a terrific Tuesday.
Yes, have a good Tuesday, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, and thank you, Nina Poshapak, Cameron Rylance, and thank you so much, Peter, for coming in for Friends of Historic Kingston. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by Rondout Savings Bank, with a long history of serving local communities and maintaining a strong tradition of customer service excellence while providing each customer with the personal attention they deserve. Rondout Savings Bank, always working for you and the community, with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park, and also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Thank you for sharing the morning with us and participating in Kingston Community Radio, AM 920, 92.5 FM, and our live streaming on mykcr.org. Talk radio at its best. Inspired discussions of, by, and for the community. And just a reminder, dry weather, sunshine, and gusty winds equals an elevated risk of fire spread today and through the week for our area. We invite you to be with us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for Super Wednesday. And till then, we wish you every success in growing and developing Kingston and all our neighboring communities. We now return you to Magic 92.5.